Good morning, doctor. Welcome back.
Good morning, Venkatesh. Nice to be here again.
Great, great.
Look
Uh,
good and sounding good. So
and you're loud and clear.
loud
So,
and clear.
yes, awesome. So, our topic for today is be consistent, which is about being consistent, with everything that we do, say, think. Uh, a lot of times, people have resolutions, people have intentions. Very often, they aren't able to stay consistent with doing them. And that's why very often they aren't able to reap the benefits of whatever it is that they have in their mind. Consistency is crucial to our wellness, to our careers, to our relationships. And that's why we're going to talk about it in our series today. Yes, doctor?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we'll
Over to
talk
you,
about
doctor.
Yeah. Now, whether you say consistence or consistency, consistence remains the single most virtue on planet Earth. And it may sound very easy to begin with, but to stay consistent, you know, ask Raja Harishchandra whether he could be consistent or not, then he will have different versions.
Uh,
So consistency is a virtue, and nobody can deny that it is a virtue. And
right.
then we have to see how best we can make use of that in the present day context of confusion, come whatever.
Correct.
So, what is consistent, by the way? The definition of consistent or consistency also is always acting or behaving in the same manner, that in the same quality and so forth.
Correct.
So whatever you say should be persistently, consistently good. So that is the virtue of the whole thing, and
Correct.
nobody can deny that.
Correct. Correct.
So next slide, please. So here is an example of a consistent person.
Right.
Here is a postman. Postman, there used to be jokes about Dakia, Dakilaya, something they would say. Dakia was the most consistent man on earth for
Right.
remote villages and so many other places. But today,
Correct.
of course, Dakia is no relevance. He has got everything computerized. But Dakia is the one guy who will be consistently attending to your needs,
Correct.
rain or shine or hell or heaven or heaven or high water, what they say.
Correct. Correct.
So, but today, of course, Dakia's relevance is less, but Dakia's consistence is very still
Consistency
relevant.
is crucial. Yeah, absolutely. It's a great
Yeah,
example. Yeah.
right, right. So, of course, we will see how best we can elaborate on that. To be consistent, hmm, one has to be a bit slow and steady.
Correct.
It's very to run around here and there and run up and down
Correct.
and still be consistent. Excuse me. You are bound to say things or do things like somebody pointed it out to me. So I thought I was consistent, and somebody else thought I am not consistent. So, but despite the controversy, slow and steady behavior is required if you want to be consistent.
Correct.
Hmm? We will see further how the
Yeah.
thing can be elaborated.
Yeah.
And the proverb goes, slow and steady wins the race. Yes,
Correct.
Venkatesh, any comment?
Yeah. No, I think a very important point. Consistency can only happen when it's sustainable. And sustainability cannot come if you, like you said, you're just doing something in an extreme. By definition, you won't be able to maintain it. So slow and steady is more predictable because you have a greater chance of sustaining whatever it is that you're trying to do or say. Correct?
Right, right. Here is another example of consistency. I will say, I will use
Consistency,
consistency.
I think, is better. I think consistency is the more common, and let's use consistency.
Yeah, yeah. We will stick to that. Now, the building you see here is a historic monument of great significance. And the building that you see is in London,
Correct.
and there are three or four other buildings, but this particular building, Big Ben, the big, huge, big clock.
Yeah.
Uh,
Westminster Abbey. Correct.
yeah, and that has remained consistent. People could set their watches or clocks, you
Correct.
know, on how the bell chimes and so forth. And no other clock in the world. I mean, of course, there are other examples now,
Correct.
but today it's an example of consist. Excuse me, consistent presence and consistent performance.
Correct.
Even during the Second World War, when everything was falling apart, Westminster remained as it was, and then it is still functioning. And today they are spending millions of dollars just to keep it up, but
Correct.
it is required. So
Yeah.
we want to
It's
be
a symbol
consistent.
of constancy, a
Yeah.
symbol of reliability, sort of predictability. Correct.
Right, right, right. Next slide, please. So, as the saying goes, consistent action hmm, creates, creates
Consistent results.
I can't see the thing.
Yeah, yeah, no problem.
Consistent, hmm, consistent action goes with consistent results.
Correct.
And if you want the same thing on the other side of the coin is, if you want to have consistent results, you have
Correct.
to be consistent in your action.
Uh,
So let's see how it goes. Yeah, let's
correct.
yeah.
Yeah. I think we have discussed this in different forms, but I think it's, literally whether it's, any aspect of your life that you want to excel or, even do reasonably well. If you are not constantly doing it, it's not going to happen.
Right, right. So in today's world, no matter what aspect of the world you are looking at, everybody wants success, and that success will demand consistency. So the success and consistency go together, which is the cause and which is the effect, nobody knows. In many of these circular logical things, there is a circularity.
Right.
One thing leads to another, and then it goes on. That is how the whole reinforcement happens.
Correct.
You know,
Correct.
you are
So I think
successful. Yeah,
the
yeah,
for example, to your point about slow and steady, or about that consistency and success are circular. It sounds like success
yeah.
comes from consistency, but you
Right.
do small things well, you feel like doing more, then you do more, then you get some more. That is sort of the virtuous loop, I guess, you're talking about. And
Yeah.
that comes from being both slow and steady, and just keeping at it. Absolutely.
Yes. Okay. Now, if you want to be consistent, and consistent leadership is the thing we are looking at now. The word leadership is universally applicable to anybody who is working in a very consistent way
Right.
and produces consistent results.
Right.
And he leads by his
Right.
action.
Correct.
Uh, so it can be in directions, it can be in actions, it can be in behaviors, it can be in decisions and goals. Of course, all these things will have to lead to goals of superior quality, so
Correct.
superlative quality. Like so, if
Correct.
you are looking at anybody who is somebody, he is doing all this. He,
Correct.
he sets goals, he sets directions, he sets actions, and then he behaves in a particular way, and then he takes decisions along those lines. So everything is consistent, consistent, and consistent. So that let's take a closer look at this phenomenon. Any comment, Venkatesh?
So again, a very good point, Doctor. That that it's for example, you can have a consistent set of goals, but if your behaviors, your decisions are constantly changing, that doesn't create confidence or create a sense of consistency. Similarly, very clearly, if somebody every morning gets up and changes his direction, you are not going to feel comfort. Is for people who are sort of following him, and the other is he's also wasting effort in doing opposite things again and again. So very
Right,
good, very good point. Yeah,
right. So to do all this, you need to have a practice,
correct,
Practice can be a disciplined timetable or disciplined goal setting and related things, but it requires practice.
correct,
Now, practice is as Sergei Bubka of pole vault fame,
correct,
or Thomas Edison of the electrical instrument making guy, and so forth.
correct,
Everything needs practice.
correct,
It goes without saying.
correct,
You can have a fantastic idea, ideation can be great, but if you are not putting it into account or action,
correct,
you are putting in the effort and the practice, and it makes perfect only then.
correct,
If it's backed by a good practice, then it will make it a perfect end result, if you like.
correct. Yeah,
So it will go on like this. There are a lot of things happen, and then knowingly or unknowingly, a successful person hmm, should be a consistent person, and he should be a practicing person,
correct,
and he gets perfect results and so
correct,
forth. So all are interchangeable, but it's required if you are.
Correct. We had a whole
Anybody,
session, if you recall, in the very early parts of this series with
yeah,
this very title, Practice Makes Perfect. Uh,
right,
and that it's exactly that you have to keep on, I guess, to your, the music practice that you do daily with your accompanist. And I guess the person who plays the harmonium always says, we are putting into our recurring deposit of practice. And then it
right,
sort of compounds, right?
right,
You
right,
can't do 17 hours of music practice on one day and expect the same results. Consistent, daily, small, 20 minutes, 1 hour is what builds up to that perfection over a long period of time.
right, right, right.
Which brings
In
us to this very
pharmacology,
example. Yes.
in pharmacology, which branch I come from,
Yeah.
the repeated small doses are better than one huge loading dose.
Yes. Yes.
So the
Correct.
loading dose, the concept of loading dose was there earlier
Correct.
with some good scientific rationale.
Correct.
But then people realize sooner than later, if you like. So you keep giving in smaller doses, and that is where even homeopathy wins. So
Correct.
you require repeated small doses.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. No, in fact,
Now,
to that point, you can't give the fight. I mean, just to take it to an extreme, you can do one loading dose, but you can't take a
yeah,
course of antibiotics and give it all on one day. You
yeah,
might kill the bacteria, but you might kill the patient as well. So,
right, right. Very true,
yeah,
very true, very true.
yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Now, here is a quote which is well known for its own justification.
Correct.
Hmm? This gentleman says, I think he's what? Louis Armstrong. But
Yeah.
there are other
This is
people
a
who
jazz.
claim,
Yeah, this is the jazz guy, but I think it's
yeah,
been we have used it before in the and it's been attributed. I guess it may be
Yehudi,
apocryphal.
we used to connect it to Yehudi Menuhin, the
Correct,
violinist.
the violinist.
So I think
Exactly.
these famous quotes have many fathers. So
Correct.
they, they right from
Yeah,
Tenzin
but it's
Norgay
a
and
good
so
one.
forth.
So it doesn't matter who said
Yeah,
it. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it doesn't matter. In fact, it's a needlessly controversial thing, but
Correct.
then it's the result that matters.
Correct.
And
Absolutely.
so
Yeah.
if I don't
Go ahead.
practice for a yeah, yeah, the guy says if I don't practice for a day, I will know it.
Correct.
He can pick out that his muscles and tendons are not cooperating.
Right.
And if I don't practice for 2 days, hmm, the clinic, the critics will
Music
know.
critics. Yeah. Correct.
Critics, the part of the audience which is critically critical, will know if you
Correct.
are not practicing for 2 days.
Correct.
And then the critics will know. And if I don't practice for 3 days, the public will know because the public is full of discerning people and everybody is under watch. So
Correct.
if you are not doing practice, if you are not doing 22 hours of effort,
Correct.
then everybody will know. Then they
Correct.
will say this artist is decaying sort of
Correct.
because audience sustainability is vital for any artist, you
Correct.
know.
Correct.
And audiences are very extremely demanding.
Correct.
So people,
Correct.
like for example, there is one Mahesh Kale
Correct.
who practices his paltas, thanas,
Correct.
so rigorously that nobody can match him,
Correct.
like that. And he does it every day,
Correct.
more often than every day, and so
Correct.
forth.
Correct.
Yeah. Next slide, please.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is another famous saying of a famous man. The famous man is none but Aristotle, the
Correct.
famous Greek
Correct.
philosopher come thinker, actioneer. So he says, we are what we repeatedly do. If I
Correct.
do repeatedly, for example, if you're repeatedly clearing your throat, it becomes second nature, and you should take care of that particular thing. Repeated things are to be avoided. If it is negative, and if it is positive, it should be reinforced.
Correct.
Now, we are what we actually repeatedly do, and excellence is the end result of this,
Correct.
and it is not but a habit. So
Correct.
you have to build it into a habit in your system. Your system, your blood vessels, your nerves, your everything will have to be tuned.
Oriented in that direction. Correct.
Yeah, till it becomes a habit. Once it
Correct.
becomes a habit, then you can push it down to the spinal cord level,
Correct.
which is the mechanistic level
Correct.
of practicing anything. And you can shove it down to that without, disturbing your performance or the result as
Correct.
such.
Correct.
So,
No,
so
very
maybe
absolutely. This habits, In fact, now there is so much study on just how habits are the core of a lot of things that we do. I guess people have always known this, but the moment you build a habit and take it to the spinal level, things become easier for us to do. We can go to the next level. Yes.
Right. Very true. Very true. Now, to do all this, you require motivation. And motivation might come and go, but consistency will always produce progress.
Progress.
Now,
Correct.
this is a good statement, again, a self-fulfilling statement, but very important.
Correct.
And motivation can come and go, and it does come and go
Correct.
because you always have periods of lagging and sagging awareness,
Or
and so
morale.
you,
Yeah.
yeah, and then many times you wonder whether to stay motivated in
Correct.
this highly competitive world, whether it is worth the trouble or not.
Correct.
But then it is worth the trouble because your brain will tell you, "Hmm, stay the course,
Correct.
don't give up, don't swerve, or don't do anything like that, and you stay the course."
Correct.
So motivation will come and go, but consistency will always produce progress.
Yeah.
It is a yeah, one saying leading to another,
Correct.
but both are relevant, both are absolutely right. So
Absolutely.
motivation, waxing and waning, motivation, yes, but consistency is no waxing waning. You are producing progress with consistency like that.
And the
Anything you want to
habit
look at
is,
it?
yeah, no, and that
Yeah,
is why the habits are so important, because once it's a habit, it is, for example, take your music, your exercise, or our walks, whether you're quite feeling like it or not, it becomes a habit. You do it even on a day when you're not particularly feeling like it, you do it, and then slowly the benefit shows, right, of having done it even when you didn't feel like doing it. So that's why habits
right.
are very powerful, because even on a day when you're not feeling motivated, that habit will keep you in motion.
Absolutely, absolutely. So the golden key to successful living, successful practice is consistency.
Correct.
So this lecture can be sort of condensed into one word: consistency. Hmm?
Yeah.
It's golden because it does look golden, and it should be done every day.
Yeah.
So there is
And it
no
creates
reason.
a yeah, it creates a compounding effect that all of us are looking for, of
Right,
the small things we put in that piggy bank. Finally, they add up to something much bigger than we thought when we were putting it
right, right. Okay. So beyond a point in life, one has to have working hypothesis in a
in. Correct.
sustainable manner.
Correct.
Working hypothesis in a sustainable manner. And people who are above 40, 45, whatever, are looking not at, flashy, dramatic outputs. Hmm?
Correct.
At this age, where a senior gentleman had said it, I am only interested in consistency, stability, and respect
And
and
loyalty.
loyalty.
Correct.
Now,
All
all
of them
these
are
are,
different forms. Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
especially
they are
stability,
all
respect, loyalty. Correct.
sustainable. They are highly sustainable and highly uh, practical, you
Correct.
know. So you have to have consistency and you have to be stable and you have to get, automatically the respect comes and the loyalty builds and so
Correct.
forth.
Correct.
So, this is particularly true. Again, I'm repeating this. Youngsters may or may not be totally committed to this
Correct.
statement.
Correct.
Most people from middle age onwards, that's
Begin
why
to
this gentleman, this gentleman said it at this age, which
at this
obviously
age.
is older than kindergarten. So,
Correct. Especially,
this,
I think once you're older, you've already seen what consistency can produce or lack of consistency can do. Whereas when you're young, you don't realize that, right? Because you've not even had a chance to see the effects of consistency.
right, very true, very true.
Last slide.
Here is a mythological, can't say mythological, divine
Yeah, divine.
example.
Yeah,
Yeah. Because the word mythology again has become a sensitive one.
correct.
So yeah, the master of the whole story,
Right.
or Sutradhar as they say, is Lord Ram.
Correct.
And he came in one avatar and remained in one avatar, and he was consistent throughout, unlike some other mythological figures.
Correct.
And he said, when he was asked to go to the forest, In the earlier part of his life or professional life, which is of course archery and warfare,
Prince. Yeah.
uh, he had a particular assignment to do, but he finished it and came back to the capital only to face another ordeal.
Correct.
Hmm? So Ram came from first Vanvas, which was a more of a sacrificial kind of a work, and
When he
he
went
was
with
in
Vishwamitra. Correct.
Ayodhya was hardly a day or two, and then he was pushed out again by his stepmother Kaikeyi.
Right.
And Kaikeyi was relentless because she had tasted blood and she was steadfast in demanding that Ram disappear from the scene
Correct.
and so forth. And how do you go about telling this to somebody who you're supposed to love? Like Kaikeyi is supposed to be the child or son of uh,
Uh, yeah, basically,
Lakshmana.
Ram is supposed to be the son of Kaikeyi. I mean, in the sense, Kausalya's son, but she has treated him like a son always. Correct.
Yeah, yeah. So that was the time when Lakshman intervened.
Right.
Lakshman intervened. He said to Ram, "Look, who is this lady Kaikeyi to demand
Let me go.
Vanvas?
Correct.
You know, I have got the whole army of Ayodhya with me, and
Right.
even we don't need that. Just Lakshman and Ram are enough to finish off everything and then take charge of the kingdom."
Correct.
Which, Lakshman was steadfast against Vanvas.
Correct.
But then, after some debate and after some reflection, uh, Ram said, "No, no,
Correct.
I'll have my say." And then Kaikeyi is right and she has to go, etc., etc. Now, that was the time when Ram said, hmm, down the historical hierarchy of things, he said, Raghukula Reet, Raghukula is Ram's
Correct.
forefathers.
Correct.
Reet is the way you conduct yourself. Hmm?
Correct.
Raghukula Reet, Sada Chali Aayi.
Correct.
I have been I have been consistent in demanding the merits and other good things of Raghukula.
Right.
And Raghukula Reet Sada Chali Aayi, Pran Jaye par Vachan na jaye. He
Correct.
said, you may lose your life, you may lose your oxygen, you may lose your very existence, but then your word of honor shall remain.
Should not be
Raghukula
broken.
Reet Sada Chali Aayi, प्राण जाए पर वचन ना जाए. So
Correct.
this is from Ramayana.
Correct.
Hmm? And Ramayana has many versions, but this particular version stuck. It is
Correct.
a famous saying.
Correct.
Anywhere that you go, if you are not in a position to honor anything, then you draw inspiration from the forefathers,
Correct.
and then they say, this is how I am, this is how I will be.
Correct.
Raghukula Reet Sada Chali Aayi, Pran Jaye, Par Vachan Na Jaye.
Correct.
So, word of honor,
Correct.
which is what? Which is a unique characteristic of a person, a princely
Yes.
person who is consistent.
Correct.
No,
Correct.
he said, let Ike say or do anything at all, but then I am going to be following the path of truth and steadfastness,
Correct.
and that's how it's going to be, and that's how it was.
Correct.
And otherwise, Ramayana would not have existed.
Correct.
The story would have been finished if somebody threw a bomb at the Ayodhya, something. No,
Correct.
it didn't happen.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes,
Anything.
absolutely. I think Ram being the greatest example in our in our scriptures, in our culture of steadfastness, right? You always
Yeah.
associate Ram with steadfastness, no matter what the cost to him, no matter what the obstacles. Uh, Basically, his word and his path he would not deviate from, and that
Yeah.
was the big, I guess that's also why it has been across time so inspiring that even in bad times people can draw inspiration, like you said, saying this is the, like they say, the Maryada Purushottam, he's
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
he's the ideal man to follow, in that this is that you have the ability to remain steadfast even when it is not at all in you know convenient or comfortable. Building that strength comes from consistency. Yes.
Right.
So
Maryada.
any
Yeah.
other thoughts, doctor, before I sum up?
Yeah, I think it's just about it. Again, whatever you feel like adding or subtracting, you do that. It's your,
Yeah. No,
it's
no,
your
it's not
baby.
subtracting. It is your baby. I'm just summarizing.
Okay,
So,
done.
yeah.
Summarize, yeah.
No, so we discussed consistency and why being consistent is really crucial for all our mental wellness, our success in the various endeavors and roles in life. We have talked about this theme in other previous talks, right? We have talked about habits, we have talked about practice making perfect. And all of these go towards one simple thing, that small, sustainable, but consistent effort in a consistent direction produces results that nothing else can, right? And that is one of the most important things, whether it's exercise, whether it's our hobbies, whether it's our relationships. We also saw that consistency is not just about action, it's about goals and direction, about behavior. It gives comfort not just to us, but to everyone around us, that things are stable and you can build upon them. We finally come down to the examples that we have from our scripture, from almost from the divine, that your word, for example, finally boils down to a very simple way to define consistency. If you have said you want to do something and you're going to do something, for example, in the case of Ram, he said, I will always be true to my word. I will always do what my elders ask of me. Then, like another slide here said, after a particular age, you realize that's what matters, right? That's what matters far more than any big, flashy, episodic, novelty or big outcomes. So it's part of a larger theme we have been discussing across time, that once you do this consistently, it becomes a habit. Once it becomes a habit, excellence then becomes sort of a defining characteristic of your character. Yeah. Thank
Right,
you so much,
right.
Doctor. And look forward to the next one.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Take care. See you next week.
See you.